A Norwegian company called Vianode plans to invest just over $3 billion in building what is said to be North America's biggest synthetic graphite plant in St. Thomas in southwestern Ontario. The plan is to create up to 1,000 jobs in the region. We're joined by the company's CEO, Burkhard Straube. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Andy.
Before we hear about this investment, tell us about synthetic graphite, because this is not stuff that's mined. You make it from coke, a feedstock.
Yeah, that's correct. Synthetic graphite is actually a critical mineral. It's one of the top NATO critical minerals. And it's not only important as a critical mineral, it's also the largest part in terms of weight of a lithium-ion battery. And lithium-ion batteries, of course, are very important for electromobility, for the energy transition in general. And today, 95% of synthetic graphite comes from China. And it's being produced in a non-sustainable way. With our proprietary technology, we actually reduce the CO2 emissions by more than 90%. And we solve both issues, the resilient supply chain issue and the sustainability issue, by building a plant in North America, in Canada.
So talk to us about synthetic graphite. What is the typical feedstock for this stuff?
The typical feedstock is coke. It's really, by and large, coke and a little bit of pitch. We don't need much more. And what we do need is a lot of energy, and preferably what we call green energy, CO2-free energy, which we find plenty in Canada from, of course, water and also from nuclear sources.
And does the coke itself come from the petroleum industry? Is it a byproduct of refining?
Yeah, that's correct. We basically use a waste product of another industry and turn it into a critical mineral, to a highly valuable product.
Just remind us, how many jobs long-term do you hope to create at this plant?
Well, what we're doing is we're approaching it in a multi-phased approach. We're going to start with 35,000 tons of synthetic graphite, creating about 300 jobs directly. And ultimately, we've secured energy and space and the plot of land to produce 150,000 tons of synthetic graphite, creating 1,000 jobs directly. And of course, through ripple effects, a lot more for the local economy.
Now, St. Thomas, as you know, is emerging as a center for the electric vehicle component industry, and Volkswagen are building a massive electric vehicle battery plant nearby. Is that one of the reasons you located there?
Well, I can't talk about individual customer interactions, but what I can say is probably PowerCo and ourselves, we looked at North America and we did a site selection process, and we both found very good conditions in St. Thomas. And so independently from one another, we decided that St. Thomas is a good place to be and to build a world-scale facility.
And then talk to us, the electricity generally is cheap in Ontario. If you can, I mean, we've got lots of nuclear and we have some hydro.
Yeah, for us, it's two aspects. One is the cost of energy. That's, of course, very important in terms of economics. But we are also very much driven by sustainability. So for us, it's also very important that it's a CO2-free energy, and that is true for nuclear. So it's a very, very good match in terms of economy and ecology.
Now, from what I've seen, the Americans are happy because you will be a non-Chinese supplier of synthetic graphite, and they're worried about their vulnerability.
Yes, absolutely. As I mentioned beforehand, key industries, strategic industries in the Western world depend upon the supply of synthetic graphite from China. We invest billions of dollars into the value chain of electromobility, into energy transition, into defense. And all of it depends upon this one critical mineral from China. So I think we were announced as part of the G7 summit by Minister Hodgson as Canada's contribution to resilient supply chains for the G7 countries. And I think this really says what it's all about.
Right. So you're getting a $670 million loan from the province, and then you're also getting support from the federal government, a letter of interest for up to $500 million in financing from the Export Development Canada. And then you may get money from the Canada Infrastructure Bank. So you are getting government support here.
Yes, we absolutely do. And I think it's very important to realize that we are in a not level playing field right now. So if we want to succeed in the Western world by scaling in critical industries and critical minerals, we do need initial support from the governments to enable the scaling. Of course, in the midterm, we have to be fully competitive.
Now, you're a spin-off. You originally were a spin-off from Elkem, weren't you? A Norwegian firm that makes silicon and graphic products. But you're standalone now. I think they still have a stake, but private equity. And is it Norsk Hydro has a stake as well?
Now, well, it is correct that we are a spin-off, or that the technology was originally developed within the Elkem system. That is correct. We were spun off in 2021. And we are basically standalone in the 100% ownership of Altor, a Norwegian private equity, since last year.
Oh, sorry, I was out of date there. Okay, so Altor, the private equity people, own you. Thank you very much. A fascinating story and good news, it sounds like, for southwestern Ontario. Burkhard, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andy. Thank you.
Burkhard Straube is CEO of Vianode.